Day 10 of training camp is today, and unfortunately, a lot of injuries, a lot of moves. We're here to talk about it all. But hey, the good news is 49ers football starts this weekend. New Spirit Option podcast is starting now. Jason, sing.
I'm
I'm
Andrew Pasquini. I'm Jason
It's a
Aponte.
good bit. We're just going to run it into the ground until we can. Hey, this is New Spirit Red Option podcast. I'm Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by Jason Aponte. And Jason, Day 10, training camp, literally just said it. Exciting times because the preseason starts on Saturday, so we're really going to get this thing rolling.
Mhm.
To me, this is the sneaky I'm going to say this sentence about 9 more times until week 1, but this is like the sneaky most exciting part of football season for me because we had Thursday with the Hall of Fame game, which, hey, Trey Lance looking pretty good, cooked a little bit there against that highly touted Lions third string defense, but we're starting to get football games, and that's what's exciting to me, Jason.
100%. And now, you're getting into, the dog days and you're trying to figure out what's going on with, who. And, we're doing as good of a job as we can at Niners Nation about, trying to update you with all the news and notes. By the way, for anybody that reads our site, tomorrow is a landmark day. Our site is going to drastically change. So if there's a little bit of glitches, anything like that, if you are a fan, a reader of Niners Nation, the site will absolutely change tomorrow. We are switching over from one system to the other. So expect a way different site tomorrow morning. A site that is so new that we don't even know how to post on it yet. So we're going to work through that as well with you guys.
I think I got to take a class. I think I'm going to a class on Wednesday to learn it. So I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be good. It'll be fun. Hey, Jason, let's talk some Niners camp. But first, let's get some sillies in real quick. Just some laughs.
You guys want to laugh?
It might not be the funniest laughs, but
I think it's the funniest.
Pain is a way to laugh, right? Jason found this on Instagram, so let's get some laughs going before we talk at day 10 of camp. Here's from HS Markin on Instagram. Here. Hopefully the audio works, Jason. Just give me a thumbs up if you hear it.
I got you.
Oh.
You fellas look sharp. Did you guys rob Goodwill? This is your last chance to talk. Where's the money? Bend over and I'll show you. Very well. Oh, fun. Movie night. What are we watching, fellas? Only the greatest hits.
Garoppolo airs it out. Sanders downfield is overthrown.
Little Jimmy G, huh? Is that the best you got?
No.
Very clever, guys.
Chiefs need some Mahomes magic.
No.
Oh.
I like the WTF speech out already.
Open, caught.
God damn it.
Second-year receiver, punt returner Kyle Williams with no 10th game junior.
You went there. You really went there. Okay, fine. It's going to be a long night then.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Okay.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it.
No.
don't make it stop, please. Shh. Quiet. It's my favorite part coming up.
Looks like he's saying here that he can't throw. He can't do it. Aaron told us about the wrist injury
Oh, my God.
on that sack by Reddick. Oh, my goodness. What a turn of events.
No. Oh, my God. I'll do anything. Make it stop, please.
My instant text to you was, you kind of forget. You
Yep.
kind of forget how much there's been.
Yep.
You
Let's go to
kind of
the
forget just how much
let's
there's
go to
been
the
over last
comments.
10 years.
Shout out to Dylan. Just turn it off. Shout out to Gav. Just kill me already.
Listen, but this is the good transition. Today seems like a bad day to be a 49ers fan because we're going to talk about a lot of injuries here. Could be much worse. You know. So I guess that's the transition. Hey man, we'll see. So Jason, let's start with training camp and let's start with the list of players who did not practice today. Because I think that's maybe the easiest. I know there was some moves today, but let's start with who's on the roster still. On the list of players who did not practice today: Renardo Green, Jawan Jennings, Jacob Cowing, Christian McCaffrey, rest. I'll make sure to say rest so you guys don't get nervous. Jair Brown, Isaac Guerrero, Kyle Juszczyk, Evan Anderson, Trent Williams, rest. Kevin Givens, Sam Okwanu, and Nick Bosa rest. So the three biggest names there are rest. But it almost feels tradition at this point, Jason Aponte. That the Niners got to have a lot of training camp injuries and you got to remember last year as well, the week of Saints practice or Saints preseason game, the Niners did cancel joint practices with the Saints because of the amount of injuries. I'm very curious. I did look it up earlier today. The article that was written about the Niners canceling joint practices with the Saints was August 11th. The game was played August 18th. So that was a week ahead of time. We're 5 days away from the first. So I don't know if it's too late, but the injuries are stacking. Jason, why does this seem to happen every year? And I'm not going to say it's a Niner exclusive problem because there are teams that are dealing with injuries as well right now, but it feels like a damn near yearly situation where the Niners just have a laundry list of injuries on the roster in training camp.
And I'll reiterate, I don't know what the answer is. I just don't, right? And look, maybe in a week or two we'll look back at the injury list and we'll laugh based on, it never really affected anything. But Kyle Juszczyk gets stepped on his Achilles or whatever. He's going to be day to day. Kevin Givens, his pec is destroyed, and Kyle Shanahan said we'll welcome him back sometime during the season. Like really just putting it off that, like, don't even worry about him, especially for the first few weeks of the season. The Isaac Guerrero thing is super frustrating based on the fact that he was the clear-cut running back too. He's a guy with immense talent, but he has so many injuries. When you look at the Evan Anderson thing, Jair Brown's working through that ankle that he has surgically repaired, which is why you saw Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock today. The Jawan Jennings thing, I sent out a humorous tweet with the guy from Dexter, who's very skeptical of Dexter and finds out about it. It's just like, I think it's a negotiation tactic or whatever with his calf injury, but he's not out there. Jacob Cowan won't be back until Raiders week. This is why you see some of the moves. You need Robbie Chosen. You need, a bunch of these guys, because not only do you have to run reps and practice, you got to be able to play these games and finish them out, right? Like, and you can't bench all 22 guys. It's just, I don't know what the answer is. Realistically, it just seems like a yearly tradition, and it wouldn't feel like 49ers camp if there weren't all these injuries piling up and everything as well too. But this is another reason why they have to really manage Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams and Nick Bosa. I'm fine. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Trent Williams has done more this offseason than he's probably ever done in his career. I don't need to see any more. Let's get you there to week one. Christian McCaffrey, okay, if you want to strengthen up, that's fine. But, this is why they're being very, very cautious and everything. It's frustrating to hear all these things, and especially for, again, look, the guys, the names, right? Kevin Givens is a rotational guy. Evan Anderson's a rotational guy. Sammy O, rotational guy. But, man, we were already concerned with depth, and this depth's already being tested on August 4th, and it's going to be tough for them to get through this preseason.
Yeah, the big injuries here on that list, a lot of them, they could be day-to-day, week-to-week. But like as you said, Kyle Juszczyk, day-to-day, he got a cut on the back of his Achilles, so, that'll be fine. But the big ones here, Kevin Givens, Peck, he's going to be out until some point in the regular season per Kyle Shanahan. And again, Givens has been here a while. He's had some impact plays, but we're talking about a defensive line that, is entirely rookies outside of Nick Bosa. So really any depth helps. And Kevin Givens is a name that's been around. So that's not a small loss. Isaac Guerendo's shoulder expected to miss a couple of weeks. My take on the Isaac Guerendo one, and I like Guerendo as a player, but I saw a lot of, well, this is why you don't trade Jordan Mason takes today. And my thing on that is, I don't know if you guys have paid attention to Kyle Shanahan and how he treats the running back room, but it's very rotational. And again, Jordan Mason never really played for the 49ers until Kyle Shanahan was forced to play him. Like that's the other thing about the Jordan Mason situation is Mason felt like we were clamoring to get him some snaps on the offense. And then Shanahan didn't play him until he had to because of injuries. And then that's when he played well. But you got to realize that they traded him because they had Guerendo. They were going to draft a running back. They always draft a running back. But also, I think the big strategy for running back this season, Jason Aponte, is just hope Christian McCaffrey stays healthy. And I know that's not something that's easy to say, and it's an execution. It's tougher to do than say. But if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, backup running back does not matter. Like, does not matter because he's going to get 75% of the carries, 70% of the carries. So Guarendo's injury is going to be interesting, but Jordan James did return to practice today. So we'll see what he looks like. I'm sure if he's healthy to go on Saturday, he's going to get plenty of looks on Saturday against the Broncos. And then Okuwanu, he's going to miss a couple weeks with a groin injury, and that's kind of the same thing as the Kevin Givens injury. And Okuwanu had some moments last season where like he made some big sacks, so he's a big part of that rotation on the defensive line. So I'm curious to see where that goes. But yeah, and I believe it was Strawberry Reacts mentioned that the Niners are middle of the pack in injuries right now, which that's fine. It's more of the idea of it feels like that. Every training camp, this is our talking point. And with how the Niners are set up this year, like a lot of these names are big name injuries because you got Renardo Green, right? He's going to be missing some time. I don't think he's going to miss regular season games, but who's the backup cornerbacks? Eli Apple. We talked Eli Apple plenty, Jawan Jennings, right? He's your wide receiver one. Jacob Cowing, he would have had a chance to get some snaps. Jair Brown, probably your starting your starting safety right now. Okuwanu. So like it's also the quality of guys, and I don't think any of these injuries outside of Givens are necessarily going to hurt the regular season at this point, but they are definitely things to monitor because one thing leads to another. And now you have me waking up at 8 a.m. and the Niners have made 10 roster moves because they physically need bodies. They go out and sign defend, and this is my transition, Jason. They go out and sign defensive lineman Bradley Anae, Bruce Hector, safety Jalen Mahoney, cornerback Fabian Moreau, and offensive lineman Isaiah Prince. They cut quarterback Tanner Mordecai, wide receiver Isaiah Nair, tight end Mason Pline, kicker Greg Joseph, and cornerback Trey Avery. And I know there's a couple names in there like Tanner Mordecai, like Nair, like Greg Joseph. That's like, well, why did the Niners cut them? And it's because they have so many names at those positions because, we found out that Carter Bradley's probably going to be your quarterback 3 with Mordecai gone, right? You have plenty of receivers on the roster right now. I know Nair got a lot of attention last week. And then Greg Joseph as well, right? Like I know the kicker competition's a thing and people don't like Jake Moody, but Shanahan's quote on Joseph's cut was more of just roster numbers. We would love to keep him longer. We had 13 guys out of practice. There's just too many guys to have that luxury. We need more people to take reps. And that, like, a second kicker is absolutely a luxury. And you're not going to cut a player you selected with the 99th pick to free up a roster spot to bring a camp body in. At some point, the Niners did need to cut some players to bring in more bodies because, I mean, you look at just cornerback, right? Renardo Green's out. You had to sign Eli Apple last week. You need bodies at cornerback. You need bodies at positions to have practices to do reps. So it's tough. And I'm sure some of these players will come back. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Joseph comes back, right? Like he might come back and get another chance or Isaiah Nair might come back. But it's just, that's where the injuries affect you is now the kicking competition is essentially over now because there's so many injuries that the Niners needed to fill out other spots. So that's where these injuries get very tricky, is just the roster crunch of it all.
It is, and it isn't over. Because Kyle Shanahan says something that I think is absolutely true. Any kicker that's on the roster is in a competition, even if somebody's not on the roster, because Greg Joseph isn't far. No one's going to jump all over Greg Joseph because he's gone. But I guarantee you, if they cut Jake Moody, someone would absolutely jump all over the chance to reclaim that project. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the competition's over. Mm-hmm. I think as of right now, everything you said is absolutely true. When you think about how many people are injured and what's going on, and then you're not going to cut the assistant head coach's son. So Carter Bradley had no shot at being cut. Like, by the way, I just want to make sure we put that out there. Like, you're not going to cut the assistant head coach's son. I don't know, all of these moves, I think the Nair one is a little bit more intriguing in terms of, you can see the physical skill set. Obviously, you have the one catch, but evidently he's not doing enough. And, it is what it is. That's the guy I was rooting for. I think he's physically gifted, but physically gifted doesn't turn into productive wide receivers or guys who know what they're doing. So, but there is a chance that Nair could just be around. I would guess, though, given given the other guys that the 49ers have released and have just been pounced on, there's teams that are hawking all over the 49ers waiting for their cut players, i.e. the Eagles, literally, TDP, Trey Sermon, Danny Gray, Oren Burks. Like, as soon as guys are let go, the Eagles are like, oh, yeah, let's add him, let's add him. So, yeah, so, I mean, Isaiah Nair is definitely going to be somebody that I probably would think is going to get, picked up. But, as far as the kicker thing, like, that's the thing is, like, kickers are already on thin ice, even if there is no other kicker on there, because it's a kicker on the couch. Look at Joey Sly. Look at how all these guys. Joey Sly turned his job into a career job, like, now in Washington. Like, there's always a kicker competition. You don't need two on the roster to have that. If you're missing kicks, then bye-bye. There's a Walmart worker that we can get that's going to make these kicks, man. Like, so, Greg Joseph isn't going to be far or anything like that. That's probably the least of the worries, in my opinion. The Jalen Mahoney thing is them bringing him back because, he has familiarity with the system. And then the two other guys, I believe it's Hector and Anea, they both have experience with the Jets. So again, Robert Saleh is bringing in his guys and guys that he's familiar with. So yeah, I think, look, you're going to see a bunch of these moves all the way through because 90-man roster and, with all the injuries and how you're going to be able to figure this out, it's going to be day to day like this where Marcus Callaway, you're in, you're out. Equanimeous St. Brown, you're in, you're out. Like we've got to keep looking. So, and then the other thing I wanted to say about the running back room, I think we've got it nailed down to the 5 that are probably going to make this roster. Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey has a good chance of making this roster. Isaac Guerendo, Jordan James, and Amir Abdullah, I think, is the guy that's going to be the one that sticks around as the veteran back. And I'm sure that Kyle liked him in the draft process. After that, Corey Kiner, do you keep him on the practice squad? Somebody's likely to go and get him. Although I looked up his spider chart. His spider chart, hand size. His hand size spider chart, the percent is, I'll give you a guess, Andrew, because I'm sure you're not going to get it. It's from 0 to 100.
I'm going to guess big. So I'm going to go 90th percentile.
0.
Oh, well, that's not almost
0. Yeah. So I don't know how you get.
I could not have been more wrong.
I don't know how you get a 0. I don't know how that's possible. Like, you must have Trump hands. You must have Trump hands, but I don't know. Like, yeah, you like that. But yeah. Regardless, I think that's your 5. But everything else is just, it is what it is. Like, again, the kicker competition thing isn't done. Because I guarantee you, if Moody goes out there on Saturday against Denver and he boots three field goals and misses them, that Greg Joseph's going to be on the line right away. Again, I want Jake Moody to win this job because if it doesn't, it's a bigger indictment on that top 100 pick that was already bullshit off the rip. So you have to make this work, okay? Like, you can't triple down on a mistake. You have to make it work. You were dumb enough to draft the kicker in the first place. You better hope that he sticks around. And if you pick somebody up from the street, then it just validates everything that I've said from the entire beginning, that you never draft specialists, especially with a top 100 pick. But that's neither here nor there. But other than that, you're just going to see this every single day, with all these roster moves, and you're just going to continue to do it.
If you ever want a good laugh, go back and watch. I did it earlier today. Go back and watch the 2023 instant draft reaction for the Moody pick. It's an all-time.
No, what's a better
all-time Jason Aponte reaction? Are you going to reference the one you talked about earlier?
A better one is the Denver game in which Jimmy had the pick 8. Oh my God! And shout out, I hope you're watching. Shout out to I forget who it was, the guy on Twitter who pointed out. He was like, "Dude, that's like one of my all-time favorite sprint right option." And I was like, "Damn, I gotta go run back, dude." Man, I let it rip in that one. That was so. And you know what? And where Colin was wrong, where Colin was right. I'm in that video saying, yeah, it has to be Jimmy Garoppolo because it's not going to get any better than Brock Purdy. Own this bozo right here for saying that. But again, I mean, you just got to keep looking, But yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and again on the Joseph Moody situation, yeah, I see a lot of people reacting to it, but again, like, this is obviously Moody's last chance, right? This is Moody's last chance last season to really show what he can.
Last dance.
It's the last dance, we'll call it. That'll be the reference all season. So if he does have a situation where he's missing kicks in the regular season, like, the Niners will have no problem moving off of him. So like, I get the instant fright of seeing Greg Joseph gone, but it doesn't necessarily mean Jake Moody's got the job locked up. It doesn't get you excited. Let's just say that. But again, we can be proved wrong. Kickers are weird players, and they're kind of like relief pitchers where one year they could be very bad and then one year they could be very good, and then things get figured out. So we'll see what happens. And again, the issue has never been with Jake Moody, the player. It's been Jake Moody, the draft position, which is more of a Niners problem than it is a Moody situation. But Moody definitely has not helped himself. Although I did see a proposed trade earlier this week where it was like Ayuk and Moody to Washington for McLaren. Yeah, dude, that'll get through.
That'll totally get Adam Peters going. Like, oh man, they threw in the kicker. We got to move McLaurin. Jesus Christ,
that's such a Madden move. I love it.
It's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I did like the idea of that trade offer just because of the idea of Moody and Debo on the same team.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But I will say this. For 49ers fans, you know exactly what I'm about to reference when it comes to the variation year to year of kickers. One year, David Akers couldn't make anything. The next year, he literally makes them all. What
was it? Was it a week 1 game against Green Bay? He had a 63-yarder, right?
Yeah.
The year after, he couldn't make anything.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's what lends me to like not drafting a kicker, because year to year, right? You could be out the league and you can be working, and I'll keep referencing Joey Sly. Joey Sly, comes off the couch, drilling all the kicks, and then now he's the Washington Commanders kicker. Like that's the proper way to do it, right? Like if you're telling me running backs don't matter, and oh my God, you drafted a running back so high, how on earth can you not tell me that a kicker was taken too high? If someone takes Saquon Barkley at number 3 and you're like, oh my God, what on earth are the Giants doing? Like, let's be real here. Let's be rational. Like, if running backs are taken too high, then a kicker being drafted anywhere past above the 7th round is way too high. Like, what are we doing?
From July 26th, from Zach Lyons, new Titans kicker Joey Sly just nailed a 66-yard field goal, and it could have gone 70. Like, I saw that headline, and my first thought was, hey, he was a Niner, right? So. Yeah. We'll see what happens with the Moody situation. The reason we're talking about it so much is we did have our first real update. I mean, we could have sat here and talked about how Joseph was 22 of 24 in camp and Moody was 21 of 24, whatever you may do. But reality of the situation is if it was anywhere close, Moody was winning. But today was the first real update that Moody seems to have won the first camp battle. But he's really just going to be in a perpetual battle against himself. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to get him rolling and more consistent, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then something else that I thought was really, really interesting. Ben Bartch over the weekend, Chris Forrester gave an update, and I don't know if anybody really knew the day off on Sunday, the 49ers, coaches, offensive line, DBs coach, all of those guys spoke to the media, and Chris Forrester flat out said it's Ben Bartch's job to lose at left guard. I think we all assume that based on the way that he played, but I think we all know how it goes when Chris Forrester says something about an offensive lineman, good or bad. You better listen to him, because that's absolutely true. That's why Jake Brendel's continuing to be the starter. That's why they talk so highly of certain guys. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I think there's two things that are really good about this. One, it obviously gives Ben Bartch the confidence to hear his coach say that, but they can start gelling now on August 4th. Get everybody together, and that's it. No competition, no chance that somebody else is going to get in here. We've got our offensive line set on August 4th. Let's put this all together, and let's figure out how to gel together as a group. And if Ben Bartch can just be solid, that's all I'm asking. I don't want him to be an all-pro. I think that's unrealistic to ask. But if he can just bring stability to the position, because Aaron Banks was so up and down, and that was just he would have highs, but he would have super lows. If he can just be steady across the board, then I think that's just a win for the 49ers offensive line. So that's some good news. And I thought that was something that kind of just got swept under the rug this weekend, just because there was no practice on Sunday. But Ben Bartch, Upton Stout, is somebody who, Daniel Bullock said he reached out to K'Wan Williams to talk about how he needs to play this position. I think it's his job to lose now. So we're getting into focus now about who's going to be playing where, and those are two big spots that we were wondering. So it's Upton Stout's job to lose, and it's Ben Bartch's job to lose at this point.
Yeah, and as you said, Jason, the best part about Ben Bartch being more or less named the starting left guard is that you know the offensive line now. The offensive line is set. And that's always a good thing, especially for a team that's had so much turnover at the offensive line. But boy, oh boy, do I want to talk about Upton Stout. He had he had a pretty good day again today. I heard he almost had a near interception that Pearsall kind of ripped away, but then he followed up with a pass breakup. Ricky Pearsall also had a good day today. But
2 in a row.
Upton Stout, I know I said it after the Niners drafted him, but if you really want to know who Upton Stout is, go back, find the All-22, or even just go watch the game against Alabama. Western Kentucky gets murdered in this game. So like you would sit there and say, hey, like maybe not his best game because they get, I think the final score was like 44-0. I'll find that exact score here in a second. But if you just focus on Upton Stout playing defense, 63-0. I was very wrong, Jason. It was not 40 something. Alabama beat Western Kentucky 63-0. But if you go watch Upton Stout, his speed looks like he belongs on the field with Alabama. And I know it's college football, but if there's a team you want to look like you can keep up with as a potential NFL prospect for your hopes of an NFL future, if you look like you're up to speed against an Alabama type team, I feel like that means good things for your future. And that's what really stood out to Upton Stout. Like that defense was not good in that game, but there was a specific play where I think it was it wasn't Milroe. Milroe's been in the league for a couple of years now. The Alabama's quarterback took a quarterback keeper to the left side of the field. Upton Stout was on the right side of the field, and he gets across the field. He doesn't quite get there in time to stop the touchdown, but the way he navigated through traffic to get to the other side of the field to even get himself in a position to make that play, I've been so excited to see what Upton Stout can become. And this camp, again, training camp is training camp, Jason, but this camp has really confirmed everything I saw from him in that game specifically. And it feels like the Niners have somebody. And now if we're sitting here and like, I know the big question mark now, because it feels like Upton Stout is the nickel cornerback. It feels like he has that locked up at this point. But if you can get Deommodore Lenoir to be a consistent outside cornerback, because that feels like the biggest question of if Lenoir can be the outside guy, and you have Renardo Green, because Renardo Green feels solid. Like he was good last year. I don't see that disappearing this season. If you can just get Deommodore Lenoir to be a consistent outside cornerback, you are set at cornerback, barring injuries, because Upton Stout feels like somebody who's going to be something in this league.
Yeah, and you know what? There's going to be bumps and bruises too. I'm not going to say that he's going to step in right away. And I think what was evident is, obviously Ricky Pearsall is doing what he's doing. And if you want to attribute that to the fact that the 49ers are down to their fifth and sixth corners, whatever it is, that's fine too. But it's also just encouraging to hear that the connection's heating up. They faced off twice, and Pearsall got him one time and Stout got him the next time. And I think that's something that is really important to hear, right? And I think, again, with Stout, you're going to have to live with the bumps and bruises, as you will with any rookie. And you can't expect a guy to just jump into the league and be dominant, but they really like him. And I think more than anything, and especially because we're not there watching, if you're listening, there's not a person in that room that's saying anything bad about him. Like not Saleh, not Bullocks, not anybody, right? And it's just the reviews. Again, like camp reports are weird if somebody says one thing and somebody says the other. But when everybody's saying the same thing, then you start to listen to everybody. And a guy who like I really I think is like knocking the notes from camp out of the park this season. And like if there was a rising beat writer report or award, it would be Nick Wagner. Nick Wagner's been all over everything. Incredible work. I encourage every 49ers fan to follow him and put his notifications on. But yeah, if everybody's saying everything about Stout, then you feel good about that. But if Pearsall's doing what he's doing and Stout's the one that's finding a way to knock the ball away, that's a great sign. And Stout's going to have to go up against Jackson Smith and Jigba in week 1. For me, he was the best slot receiver last year. And, and now in a Clay Kubiak offense, obviously Sam Darnold's there. That's going to be your number one test right out the box. So, yeah, Upton Stout's going to have a lot to do. But, again, the functionality of that nickel corner is essentially another linebacker. You have to be able to cover and you have to be able to run defend. And that's what made K'Wan Williams so good in this defense. So it's really nice to hear that he reached out to him because of the ins and outs of how you're going to be able to run in this defense. So, yeah, Upton Stout and Ricky Pearsall, that sounds really good also.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering with Nick Wagner, just to piggyback off of what Jason said, it might be hard to read depending on what screen you're on here, but he gives you this every practice, like just a long list of everything that I had Purdy at 9 of 13 today, would be touchdown toss to Marcus Robinson. Another, like Nick Wagner gives you everything he sees in one just nice tweet. So if you don't follow Nick Wagner, you should. Like we highly recommend it because he gives you so much. But yeah, man, I again with such a young defense, like it's the early returns have been good. Early, especially with like Mykel Williams. I know there's some concerns about his exterior pass rush ability, but the Niners didn't draft him to be an exterior pass rusher. They drafted him to be an exterior run stopper, which is something they absolutely needed help with last year. And then you're sitting there with him as a solid pass rusher. Everybody said how good of a pass rusher he's been on the interior. CJ West is getting a lot of compliments on the defense, and not obviously a rookie, but D Winters, right? Like we went from, okay, the Niners drafted Nick Martin to compete with D Winters. I don't think I've seen Nick Martin's name mentioned in a few weeks. I mean, I guess camp has only been 10 days, so that's a little dramatic, but a few days. Like you haven't seen his name mentioned. That's how good D Winters is. And I think I saw the Niners linebacker coach mention violent fast with D Winters, and that's what you want. That's what you want from your linebacker. So it's been such a good camp for those who have been skeptical about the Niners defense, because we're sitting here hearing all these compliments about all these players from everybody. It's not just one person.
Yeah, and again, if it's up and down reports, or if it's, what's this, what's that, that's fine. But for the most part, the D Winters thing, and if I'm reading the tea leaves, besides all the positive reports, the San Francisco 49ers put out a whole media post about Winters is coming. That doesn't scream guy who's in a competition. He's the linebacker too. It's done. And the only way that it's not going to be that way is if he's hurt. And I even think I read in Nick Wagner's report that he thinks Nick Martin is behind someone else. So it's interesting how it goes from, oh, you drafted Nick Martin, he's going to be the new Dre Greenlaw, to D Winters has completely stepped up and it's his job to lose now. It's just funny how, perception from the draft to what's really happening, how they don't really go hand in hand, and they change. Everything's fluid is really what I want to say. And the same thing about, who's going to replace, Malik Mustafa. It's Jason Pinnock. It's Pinnock every single day. When you look at first team defense, it's Pinnock. Richie Grant was only in there today because Jair Brown's working his way, through the ankle injury, and they're taking it slow with him, which is good. That's fine. I like that idea. But yeah, everything else is kind of taking shape right now. Like, sure, there's a lot of time left in camp. Obviously, the big thing is, no injuries. But it seems like, left guard's locked up, linebacker 2's locked up, nickel cornerback's locked up. It's good to have these things because now you don't have to go through the competition, and you can start to throw those guys into the fire and get them acclimated to what you need. So if you want good news, this is good news right here. This is good news. So I think this is a lot of fun right now, at least in that way, because we don't have like outright competitions, and we're still not wondering what's going to happen. You still have the preseason games, and those preseason games matter. I just want to make sure that even if Kyle Shanahan doesn't give a shit about them, they definitely matter. And if you perform well, then obviously you have to take into account what you've done in training camp, what you've done in the meeting room, what you've done in games. So it's all like a 3-factor evaluation. But we're gonna find out in a little bit. But right now, it's looking like we've got these competitions locked down, and that's encouraging, because that means that you can get guys rolling and get that rapport going with everybody else.
Yeah, and I mean, you remember we talked about Mike Clay's ESPN projections a couple weeks ago, and Clay projected the Niners defense to be 32nd, and I don't know.
I'll bet him anything. I don't have a lot of money in my account. I'll bet him whatever. That's not going to happen.
I don't know if I necessarily believed it when we talked about it, but the early returns on this defense through camp, and I know it's training camp and all that stuff, but like, it's not necessarily the production, but it's the Niners are all like, it's August 4th and we're figuring out starters in very key positions. I mean, it really feels like right now the only position that isn't set is safety, and that's because you have Malik Mustafa hurt, so there's 3 or 4 guys, Pinnock, Jair Brown, guys like that are competing for 2 spots. But when Mustafa comes in, then that's kind of where the competition lays. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to sit here and say the Niners defense is going to be the greatest because of what's going on in training camp. But getting these positions figured out as early as they have. Like usually training camp battles are called training camp battles because they go through all of August until you get to the last preseason game where those things get decided. But it feels like the Niners have those decisions made already. And that's just so good, especially considering how young this Niners defense is. And Tony, I don't disagree here. I think the Niners will have a top 10 defense. I think having Robert Saleh back is huge. And and maybe it's because I've seen how good the Niners defense can be. And then just to see how quickly they fell apart last season, I refuse to believe the Niners defense is going to be any worse than it was last season. And I know there's some questions, right? Like Dre Greenlaw being the leader of that team emotionally. I mean, I don't think it was coincidence. The best half the Niners had on defense all last season was the one half that Dre Greenlaw played. But D Winters is somebody who's been there. And if you I guess you can't close your eyes and read Jason, but if you read the descriptions of D Winters and you replace every time you saw Winters with Greenlaw, you would be excited. And that's what I'm excited about D Winters is everything I'm reading is just physical, strong, fast. And it's good because they've sat on Winters for a few years now. And unfortunately, I think maybe the biggest thing that could have changed last season if the Niners at the start of the year just said, fuck the Devondre Campbell thing and didn't even give him a shot and just ran with D Winters to kind of see. But again, I understand it. They're coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. And you don't necessarily want to go young at that position.
And
but
he couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah, and he couldn't stay on the field. That also doesn't help. But now we're sitting here and like maybe D Winters is somebody. And that would be the biggest thing to this defense. I know Upton Stout gets a lot of attention, but that spot next to Fred Warner is so important. And the two guys that have consistently been good at it with Azeez Al-Shaair and Dre Greenlaw, you can tell that those defenses were so much different than the Devondre Campbell's defense last year. So if they can get any sort of production that's not Devondre Campbell level, I'm excited for what this defense can have. John V, thank you very much for the donation. Saleh brings a vibe and a familiar spirit to this team, and that excites the shit out of us. Yeah, and then like I feel like with what you've been reading from this defense, like I'm curious how much of it you could just say is the Saleh effect alone.
Yeah, and we always say scheme matters when you don't have the roster. But scheme doesn't matter if you don't have anyone who can execute it. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Or a scheme can lift at times a barren roster, but if you don't have guys that can execute, then who cares about the scheme, right? But I think it's a little bit of both here. Like it's the fact that Saleh's not going to put this defense in bad spots, right? And he's going to be he's constructed this defense to his liking. That's another good thing that we want to talk about here, right? It's not like he's being forced into certain guys. He's picked all of these guys and understands their skill set and how to utilize them. He's got his fingerprints all over this team. And like I said, with 3 of the guys that they just brought back in, this week or yesterday or today, actually, I'm sorry, Jesus. They're former Jets and they're all guys, Pinnock's a guy that's familiar, right? You have the skill set of CJ West reaching out, they want him to reach out to DJ Jones and, Upton Styles, K'Wan Williams. He's got his fingerprints all over this defense and understands how to use them, right? I don't want to shoot Nick Sorensen any bail, but he didn't put this defense together, right? It's just he didn't know how to use them, right? Like in this case, Robert Saleh knows how to use what he chose, and it has to be a positive for you, right? Like that has to be something because it can't be any worse. And I think that's to Andrew's point. It's not us being, idiots or assholes about saying that or whatever, or even trolling. It's just it just numerically or just like statistically, it can't be worse. Like it almost cannot be worse, especially on run defense. So of course there's going to be improvement. Now, how marked is the improvement? Is it going to be a huge leap or is it just going to be a little bit better? That's what we're going to figure out. But I think the Robert Saleh thing, and again, John, thank you for the donation. Very generous, my boy. It's good to see you, man. Always a day one sprint right guy, man, for sure, man. It's good to see you in here. But yeah, like I think obviously the Robert Saleh thing is what has a lot of people excited on top of the fact that draft, it was all him. The free agency, it was all him. There's not going to be any surprises on this roster for Robert Saleh. He essentially handpicked every single guy, so he knows how to use all of them, and I think he has an understanding after watching them for a little while of what they're going to be moving forward.
Yeah, and the point you make about, whether it's a small improvement or a large improvement doesn't matter. It's just got to be better than. I think I think I'm in the minority that I feel good about where the Niners offense is going to be if everybody
Mhm.
stays healthy, obviously.
I think so too.
Where if even the Niners defense takes a small step, like they're not going to go 6-11. That'll be if the Niners defense takes a small step from last season, they'll be a 10-7, 11 and is that 6, 11 and 6. Jason, they've been doing 17 games for 5 years now, and my brain still can't do the 17 game math because I'm just so used to 10-6, 9-7, 11-5. Can't do that math yet. But especially considering with what this schedule is, if this defense takes even the slightest of steps in the right direction, like this is probably a 10-11 win team.
Yeah, 100%. And again, we've pounded the table saying this is the year. This is Kyle Shanahan's year for a few reasons. One, the offense last year was top 10 moving the football, but the red zone's where they struggled.
Yeah.
If this defense is going to have rookie after rookie starting, Mike Hill's probably going to start. CJ West is probably going to start. If everything falls right, then your base down line would be Bosa, West, Collins, and Michael. Collins needs to, work a little bit more. But if you're going to have all these rookies, then your offense has to take more of the burden and score more, while you go through these bumps and bruises. If there's a game where you're a little overmatched on defense, okay, Kyle, like, let's roll this offense and let's get it going. Like, I've seen Kyle Shanahan create offense with Nick Mullins. He had people believing that Nick Mullins, was, a bona fide starter, right? Like, I've seen him create offense with CJ Beathard and Marquise Goodwin. I still believe in an offense that has Trent Williams at left tackle, tight end George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and whether it's Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, you still have enough. Like, I don't want this Cry Me a River shit about the offense. The offense has to be the one that is going to offset any sort of defensive lapses. And this is Kyle Shanahan's year. Draw it up, scheme it up. And that's another reason that you should be happy that Robert Saleh's here because, and there's your stat right there. Most passing
mentioned
yards.
Nick Mullins, and that's all I
Yep.
can think about when I think.
I mean, that's smart. That's exactly what I could think of. But the thing is we talked about Robert Saleh. One more thing that I can give you excited about is Kyle Shanahan doesn't have to deal with the defense at all. It felt like he was micromanaging Nick Sorensen the entire time. It felt like he was kind of, remember the game where he gave Kubiak the play calls and he had to listen in on. He doesn't have to do that with Saleh. So yes, I need you to handle all the personnel decisions. I need you to be a head coach, but I need you to focus on the offense. I need you to stay on the offense, and I need you to get this offense going because Robert Saleh's got the defense, and if there is any slip in the defense, then your offense has to counteract that with their scoring points, like not field goals. Doesn't matter who the kicker is. I've got a crazy out-of-the-box idea, Andrew Pasquini, and here it is, and I'll lay it out. If I'm crazy in the chat, please let me know. Chat, let me know. Let's just score a bunch of fucking touchdowns, and then we'll figure out everything else after that.
What's the stat Jesse always gives us? The Niners are undefeated when they score more points than their opponent. Like
They are.
It feels like the simplest way to do it, right? And that's what I think this team can be. But I think this defense is going to be much better than a lot of people thought they would be. At any point in the offseason, I think this defense will be better than that. Jay said, I'm excited because there's not too many more days of talking about just practice. Our next podcast, I think it's going to be Friday, right? We're going to preview a little bit of a preseason game. Maybe we'll see if it's Friday, but if not, if we don't go Friday to preview, we'll be back Monday to talk about an actual preseason football game. So let's talk about practice, more talk about real football games, Jason. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look, viewers. If you're watching this, if we connect on Twitter, if we go back and forth, I need you guys to watch this game for me, and then I will watch it when the film comes out because I'm busy Saturday. I'm sorry, guys. I want to be 10 toes down with you guys, and I want to sit and I want to watch the game with you, but unfortunately, I cannot. So I need you guys to hold me down, send me updates, let me know if kicks were missed, let me know how our new punter looks, because these are all the things that I'm really looking for. But I'm relying on you guys to keep me updated because you guys are smart. I believe in you guys, but I really won't have any strong opinions about who played what until I watch the entire game, and that's not going to be that day on Saturday. I know, man, it's kind of weird to say, right? Like, I worked last Saturday, covering the practices and putting things out on Niners Nation, and I'm not going to watch the game. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of a fraud, man.
Yeah, I don't think you're a fraud, Jason. It's the preseason. We got to warm up. We got to get loose, and there's 2 more preseason games after it. So you'll be fine, and I'll be watching. I'll be dare I say Saturday's my Super Bowl. I'm gonna be locked in, ready to go. So I'm excited. I'm excited because, like, again, I think I haven't used this term this offseason yet, but we're about ready to go from hypothetical football to real football, and that's kind of my favorite transition.
Real quick, like I just want to talk about this because Kyle was asked about this, and obviously the big thing that's going on right now this week is going to be the joint practices with Denver.
Mhm.
I don't have to outline the Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga thing, right? Or even lap up the fact that it's Sean Payton's stupid face ass on the other side of that sideline, for them and how much we hate him. But Kyle Shanahan did talk about like being able to script this thing and get everybody. I think, look, what am I looking forward to is I want to see Ricky Pearsall against Barron and Surtain because I'm enjoying all the reports about him against Dallas Flowers and Darrell Luter, and like that's great. Ricky Pearsall's doing exactly what he should be doing. But this is gonna be premium competition here.
Yep.
Surtain against Barron. This is what I'm gonna be looking for. But obviously, objective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through 10. No more new injuries. Let's get in, let's get out. But I do think that it was really good that Kyle Shanahan talked about him and Sean Payton being in collaboration about what's going to work. And to your point about the Saints and them canceling the joint practices due to injuries, I think both sides are going to be on the right side of what's right and what's wrong. Because Dre Greenlaw was dealing with a little something as well too. So like I think Denver is going to be cognizant of that as well too because Greenlaw's their prized possession right now.
Yeah. I mean, I got a big Bronco fan friend, and then he's talking about if Dre Greenlaw gets hurt at all, like they don't have any linebackers behind him really.
Well,
so, like,
tell him to prepare himself.
Hopefully, we hope he stays healthy.
No, we want him to be healthy, but I mean, again, history is history. Like again, like can we talk about something else that's kind of funny?
Yes.
Okay. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be the starter for the Rams this year?
Oh my God, listen, I see Niner fans. I see Niner fans being like, "Oh, the Rams, they're going to be bad." I don't want to open that Pandora's box, dude. I just don't want to find out what happens. I know the odds. I know the odds are like he might not be great because of what we saw with Vegas, but that's Vegas. This is a totally different situation.
And it's Sean McVay as his coach.
Offense. And like I understand Niner fans being confident in that, but like I don't even want to think about opening that box, dude.
Well, I wasn't going to make that joke. I'm only making the joke because how ironic of it for Devontae Adams to be like, oh, I'm going to get Matthew Stafford and it's going to be Jimmy G. And then it's so funny because he had to do an interview and they asked him and he was like, no, I've always loved Jimmy or whatever. Bullshit, man. We watched that show, man. I don't want to hear that, So, but look, realistically, we don't know what's going on. It wouldn't shock me if Matthew Stafford went out there and tried to tough it out that entire time. He's done it his entire career. He's a guy that's taken on injuries, but he's not a guy that is gonna like not play if like unless it's like dire. But I think it's pretty funny that Rams fans, right? Here's the DC dip and swirl that Rams fans are doing. Ha 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 ha! Jimmy Garoppolo's your quarterback. You'll never win with him. To ha 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 ha! We have the best backup quarterback in football, and we can still win games with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like you're all full of shit. You're all full of shit. Jim Everett, you're the guy. You're my boy, marketing pro. You guys are all full of shit, and you're all just lying to yourselves. And don't think that I'm letting that shit slide either. Don't act like you're happy now that Jimmy Garoppolo's your quarterback, because when he was a Niner, you're like ha 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 ha. No, ha 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 you. And as soon as he throws that first interception into a linebacker's belly, don't get mad. Don't get mad.
Hey, this isn't true, Tony. I have a good friend in my softball league who's a big Rams fan. Shout out Jeremiah, big Rams fan, and that's in Sacramento, California. No, but Jason, I got one counterpoint. Jimmy Garoppolo just wins, pal. Like QB wins, pal. You remember those podcast days? Remember those days where we just talk about quarterback wins?
Well, that's what's funny is that's why I'm saying that Denver one is so funny. Because that's all we were yelling about was just like, remember that game? They lost 11-10. The San Francisco 49ers allowed 9 points on offense. And Jimmy Garoppolo gave up the other 2, which should have been 8. And if you watch that old video, I'm blocking people from the chat because they're like, "Oh, stop complaining about Jimmy Garoppolo." I'm like, "No, he's literally the reason we lost this fucking football game." Like, and if you feel like there's anything different, then you're just completely obtuse. Doesn't mean that necessarily he's gonna be bad. But how could you have not watched that game and said that Jimmy Garoppolo was the main reason? And then remember, we had the play where Debo's running straight down the field by himself. Jimmy looks at him and he's like, "Nah." And then there's the one to Ayuk where he just throws it right at his feet. Like you, like. These were the times that we were fighting. That we were fighting for our lives, and it was it was the week after Trey Lance got hurt, and all those Jimmy Garoppolo fans were lapping up the injury like, "Good, he doesn't give us the best chance to win." All that, like, that was such a frustrating, like, melting pot of a time right there, where like frustrations were boiling over on both sides, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I let it all out in that game because he was so fucking bad in that game.
Well, it was even the extra part of like it was Russell Wilson's first game against the Niners after the Seahawks, so like that PTSD as well. But man, this is so fucking funny, man. Second quarter 3 points by Denver, third quarter 2 points, fourth quarter 6, and Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't beat that. Like,
and then you know what's funny?
I still can't get over that he stepped out of the end zone, and it was the smart play because he fucking threw a pick. Like, that's just.
Yeah. You know what's funny too?
God,
is I watched it back.
I'm getting angry all over again.
No, and I watched it back, and you were the one trying to calm me down because I'm yelling at the comments and I'm yelling at the chat. And it's so funny how far we've come from that time. You go, well, they gave Jordan Mason a carry, 7 yards per carry, and it's crazy to think that like here
we are now talking about they should have never traded Mason.
They should have never traded Jordan Mason. Like, you see, like it's so funny how all this shit comes back. That's why, like, you know what I think we should do, Andrew? I think until the season starts, right? For any sprint right option we do, we revisit an instant reaction or a 49ers, a super, like, right after a sprint right option, and we just look at what we've said then and how many things have either come to fruition or changed or been bad. Like, literally in that video, I'm yelling, it doesn't matter if Brock Purdy plays, he's not better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Look who's a fucking moron, me. But again, like, that's what my thought process was at the time because he hadn't shown anything at that point.
The one that pops up to me a lot in my suggestions is the week 1 preview of that season against the Bears, and us just talking about Trey Lance and how excited we were, and then that lasted all of 2 weeks. But now here we are, where Brock Purdy. I mean, you go back to training camp from that season, and you explicitly being like, "This Brock Purdy guy stinks, man," and now like here we are.
He wasn't good. I don't care what anybody says. He wasn't good. Anybody who said that Brock Purdy was good in that training camp is objectively lying. Now, he was good in preseason games, and that's where, but he wasn't good in camp. Like, he threw the first interception in camp. I was there. I was literally there. And they had Jimmy Garoppolo running around in the background, and all they did was they give Purdy two reps, and they were like, get Trey back on there because we got to get him ready. Like, come on, man. What I want to do, and this is what I'm going to. No. All right. Real quick. Here's what happens. He picks every single unknown end of the line draft pick, all of them, and says, "Oh, he looks good. Don't be shocked." And it's a genius move because when they don't come to fruition, no one's going to give him any pushback. But if he's right, he can take a huge victory lap.
Wasn't he
right?
big on Tanner Mordecai?
Tanner Mordecai, right? Tanner Mordecai, right? You got to watch out for Tanner Mordecai. Tanner Mordecai is unemployed, but nobody's going to give him any pushback on that. That's not analysis. That's you taking a very, very easy bet, right? Like, of just, oh, you got to watch out for Tanner Mordecai, or you got to watch out for Connor Colby, or you got to watch out for Austin Pleasance, or you got to watch out for, come on, man. Like, that is not sticking your neck out. And again, if it's wrong, then nobody's going to say anything about it because who cares? But if it's right, then you get to lap it up and pull up your come on, man. Like, it's not hard to see what's being done here. Either way, he wasn't good in camp. He just wasn't. But he was good in preseason games. And that's objectively true as well, too. But yeah, it's just funny. Like, I think that's what I want to do. So this is what I want to do. If you're a watcher and your comment, you want to put a comment under, and you're watching this and you're not watching live, please put a reaction that Andrew and I had of any game. and ask us to revisit that one, and we'll tally up the votes and see what they come up with, because I'm interested to see this too.
I like that idea. And Dawson, I'm not going to put your comment on the screen, but you know ball. Giants are playing right now. By the way, they're up 4-3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the bottom of the 8th inning.
I don't like baseball. Baseball's pretty stupid.
Yeah, I really like the posts about like, oh man, the Marlins had so many fans at those games, as if it was Marlins fans who were at those games.
And it was just Yankee fans crying in the stands.
That's a
shout out to Camilo Doval though.
Hey man. That's
that wasn't his fault.
It's a fun ride. He's electric. I was happy he went to the not the happiest trade I had. I was so happy. Which one? Which Dallas postseason reaction? Isn't there?
Yeah, which one? No, you know what's the one? You know what's the one? The one of my favorite ones, postseason. The block punt, the Jordan Willis block punt against Green Bay. Dude, we just sat there like in silence looking at each other like, how on earth did this even happen?
We were so shocked they won that game. They should not have won that game, and it was a block punt that did it. And like, it was just so funny because like, I mean, we still talk about it today, Jason. Niner special teams never do anything. And then for the special teams to be the one to win them was that divisional? That was divisional, right? Yeah, that was divisional going into Los Angeles the next week. Yeah. So the fact that it was special teams that won that game, like that was the like shocker. Was they did something. They did something productive. So
no, you know which one is good, but I did it by myself. Like my favorite instant reaction of all time is after the Lions NFC Championship game. Like I literally had like tears in my eyes because I couldn't believe, like, and I was so happy for everybody, right? For all of us. And it just, I sometimes when I have a down moment, like, you know, with this team, I go back and I watch that because like I just remember believing, like, you know, we were down so many points in that game. I remember like I sat and watched this game in silence by myself. I took a shower at halftime. I came back, then everything started happening, and then we win. I was just so happy for everybody and for all of us. That's one that really, 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 like, I felt that one deep in my, like, for people that are like, oh, you really don't care about this team, or you really just like, you're a dog. I still, like, that one let me know I still fucking care. And you know how I know I really care? You know, we were just talking about it over text when we did the Super Bowl party for Bleacher Report, and we were out there. We held it together, you know, like on screen, even though I looked like I wanted to die. But I'll never forget taking out the earbuds, giving them back the things, saying thank you to everybody, saying, hey, you guys did a great job, and just immediately just crying, like just like it all just came out right there, like. And then we stood right there by Giant Stadium, and we all just stood next to each other, and we were just like, it was again, how again, you know, like. So don't tell me I don't care anymore. I definitely care. I just try to be objective for you guys.
I'll never forget that night because it was me, you,
Ariel,
Ariel. Mm-hmm. And I think we had a bottle of something, and I had brought a few darts. Yeah, and we just sat.
Yeah, I went to the hotel room. I went to the hotel room, and I was like, "Give me this bottle of wine." I was like, "Put it on." Put it on the room, and we came right back out.
And we just sat out next to McCovey Cove and just made the pain go away. Dare I say, made the pain go away? And
I ordered McDonald's, and I watched Usher's. Huh?
How did we get here?
It's good. It's just good. But we were talking about, like, you know, reactions and everything, right? And I'll never forget, like, I was so broken that I couldn't even do like an instant reaction or anything like that. And I'll never forget waking up in the morning because, you know, Bleacher Report flew me out or whatever with you. Like, you know, they put you up in the hotel because you're close enough. I'll never forget waking up and opening up my YouTube and just seeing that I had lost like 80 subscribers. Like, people were just like, they completely like rage quit. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, but they just didn't want to hear anything about the Niners. And it took me a while to start posting again. So don't tell me I don't care about this team. Don't tell me that I'm not a fan anymore.
I remember texting KP that night and being like, hey, I know I usually get my post game articles like done the night of, but like I just don't even want to. I don't want to think about it right now. Yeah. I still can't believe we got to do the Bleacher Report thing. That's like the coolest thing we've ever done.
And it's full circle because we started this with that Instagram video, and then we closed it off with more pain. Exactly. That'll do it for the Spurt Right Out Ship.
Niners football always comes back.
Nothing like it.
And that's nothing like it. No, hey, that's the San Francisco Giants, sir. There's nothing like Giants baseball. As they may or may not blow this lead against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jason, it was fun. Next time we talk, we're going to be talking about an actual football game. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's preseason, but there's something exciting about a season where you've had 4 years in a row where Super Bowl is the prediction, Super Bowl is the hope, and having a season where they got him cooked. Thank you. Where it's a season where there are no expectations. You don't know what to expect. So I'm really looking forward to this season. And it starts Saturday. The Niners play the Broncos, 5:00 West Coast time. Jason and I will be back. We will be back on Friday to preview it. But Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. And I think my ring light just died.
I don't think, Jason. It looks like it. Here, I got you. Goodbye, guys. Bam.